My name is Gary Mays, and I am chairing this wonderful advisory committee. I won't go over each and every one's names, but they're very diligent and very active listeners, and so I want to thank them publicly for their time and willingness to serve and volunteer their time and drive for some folks a considerable distance to be here tonight, for us to be together and hear your public input tonight. First on the list is Beth Reinhardt.
Good evening. I'm Beth Reinhardt, and I'm proud to serve as the President and CEO of the Bristol Chamber of Commerce, which actually serves both communities of Bristol, Virginia and Bristol, Tennessee, and our members range from all over the region and beyond. Also a former member and chairman of the school board in Bristol, Virginia, so I kind of bring that piece as well. I want to say first and foremost thank you to each of you all. I know you all are giving a lot of your time for this purpose, and it is very valuable to our community, so we appreciate the time that you are giving. I grew up in Bristol, and I care deeply about the well-being of our community. I also bring a bit of a unique perspective as someone who worked at Wellmont for nearly a decade as its government relations director. The people who work at Wellmont and also at Mountain States are very smart and talented individuals, and I have a lot of faith in their ability as they go and try to execute the strategic vision for the future that I believe will benefit our community at large for a very long time. The creation of a new health system is consistent with the goals that I have in my role at the Chamber. And let me explain what I mean by that. We are proud to be the oldest continuously accredited chamber in both Virginia and in Tennessee, and we take great pride in driving forward-thinking, innovative solutions that attract new businesses and jobs to our community. We are actually in the top 1.5% of chambers in the country, believe it or not. We hold the 5-star accredited role and rating, which is very hard to achieve, so we feel very confident and proud of the work that we've done on behalf of many of the businesses that we represent. One critical factor in sustaining a strong economy is having a healthy community, and having affordable, accessible, high-quality health care is essential to achieving that. The new health system plans to keep hundreds of millions of dollars in our region. Those dollars can be reinvested in initiatives that have the potential to improve the health of our friends and our neighbors and preserve local jobs as well. As you think about what to include in the health index, I encourage you to include the tracking of these investments as an outcome to monitor, as I think it will be exciting for all of us to see how the health care improves in our region over the next 5, 10, and beyond. So when we envision the bigger picture, we're tracking improved health outcomes, increased access to quality care, cost savings, and preservation and creation of the needed jobs. In all, the potential benefits of a streamlined, more effective healthcare system in our community cannot be overstated. It's the kind of change that will attract employers to Bristol in the future, and that in turn creates long-term economic stability and opportunity. So thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for letting me share my thoughts, and again, thank you for all that you do to make sure that we get to where we need to be. This is a daunting process, but a very important one to each and every one of us, so thank you.
Next we have Raven Krichbaum. Krichbaum, excuse me, I apologize, of Hawkins County Hospital. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Raven Krichbaum. I am a retired school superintendent. I was the superintendent for the Rogersville City School and retired in 2007. I currently work with the Hawkins County Hospital Board, and as such I have a seat on the corporate board. So my perspective tonight is really a community perspective, and I just briefly want to say that in spending time getting to become familiar with everything that has come together for this process, it has impacted my thinking from a community perspective about where we're going forward with health care. In Hawkins County and Hancock County, our hospital it's a necessity. We have people who would not get appropriate health care without it, and some who would die without it. So the process that we are looking at currently is very important to us. And I guess my point tonight is to say, having looked and read the documents, having heard it discussed numerous times, I very much support this process for where we're going to go in the future. And some of the most outstanding parts of it have to do with the accountability that the state of Tennessee and Virginia is asking us to do. I think that's critical, that we be accountable. The oversight is ongoing, and I think that's also very critical. And I recognize that this plan is not without flaws, but it does have more strengths than it has weaknesses. And my experience has been that when we recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, then we can use our strengths to improve our weaknesses. And that would be my expectation through this process. So I thank you all for your consideration, and I look forward to going forward and with what you all are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a second. Let me check and see if the committee has any questions.
Raven, are you on the Wellmont Health System Board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Nancy Barker.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Barker, and I'm the Executive Director of the Rogersville-Hawkins County Chamber of Commerce, and have been in that position for 19 years, and want to welcome y'all to the Rogersville-Hawkins County area. For the last, it's been my privilege as a community leader and business leaders in this area to work with the hospital, and with the business climate that we have, we're looking forward all the time and asking people that come into our community, or when we're trying to get people to invest in our community or bring businesses into our community. One of the things that they always ask, what's the quality of your health care? What can we expect if we bring a business in here? What if we have a disaster? What can we do? You know, are y'all able to handle that? And I think that's one of the things that, as we look at our hospital and move our community forward, that people want to know, you know, how can we access that? Is it affordable? Are you able to provide that for us? And that plays a key role into whether they decide to move into our community or another community. The Hawkins County Hospital has served the Rogersville area since 1961, and it employs more than 50 board-certified physicians and over 150 nurses, technicians, and support staff. Our chamber is proud to say that in March, the Hawkins County Memorial Hospital was rated by a national firm, Truan Health Analytics, among the top 20 small community hospitals in the 2016 ranking based on a 50-bed facility. For their overall organizational performance. While many hospitals this side are struggling just to survive, ours is excelling, and Hawkins County is strong and rated among the best in its class. This strong performance is an important selling point for our community. Chambers of Commerce are looked at as a trusted source for information and referrals for area businesses. And our chamber tries especially hard to attract members that we believe offer high quality and dependable services to the community. Like many other consumer-driven services, patients want to know how their local hospital is performing, and I think that's key, and I think that's why it's important that our hospital has always been one of the top hospitals in the area for a small hospital, for a 50-bed hospital. I think it's key that time and time again, they receive different accolades from the healthcare system of the things that they have done. If the merger of Wellmont and Mountain State is approved, I believe it's important that our community has access to the data that shows how the system is performing. I would like to see the index include a measure indicating whether the new health system is participating in expanding quality reporting so the public can easily evaluate the performance of the system's most important responsibilities, providing excellent care to the people in our region. And I believe that transparency in this area is good for the people who live in our area, and I hope it will be another way for us to show interested businesses that are looking to come to our community that we have access to high quality care for them. And thank you for this opportunity for allowing me to be here tonight.
Thank you. Just a second. Any questions from the committee? Anyone? On the, just a couple of things. One is thank you on behalf of Rogersville, as you represent them, for hosting us. Rogersville is a beautiful town, so yeah. And the hospital is excellent. I hear a lot of positive comments, and so I agree with you. Now, on the access of data, the hospitals already, most hospitals, I believe, already have lots of data about quality performance. And so I think I liked your comment regarding the index. So accessing data, are you speaking of, I'll just clarify in my own mind, are you speaking of performance data that the advisory committee recommends, or are you speaking of performance data that the hospital already collects? Because it could be two different things.
Well, I think it's key to do both of them. I think we need both of them so that people understand, you know, that this merger is going to allow us to continue to have the high quality care. And I think that's the thing that's the biggest concern. And as long as that data is available, then we'll be able to, you know, put it out to the public, and they can see that, you know, what this merger will mean to us, and then what it will do for our community.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I apologize I can't make the name, so rather than make an attempt, I will say next on the list is the representative from G&C Industrial. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Freeman, and I am with the owner of G&C Industrial Supplies. I'm in Church Hill. I'm a small business owner, and I'd like to thank you for this opportunity that you've given me to be able to voice any concerns and comments that I have. Thank you very much. I've been, of course, we're located in Church Hill, which is in Hawkins County, and I've been a resident of Hawkins County for 27 years, and I've been a business owner for over 30 years, and I've been in industrial supplies for over 30 years. Started when I was 17. My entire family lives here in Hawkins County, and we depend on the Wellmont Health System for their services. Over the years, I've seen communities like ours struggle for many reasons, and many young people have moved away for college and to find better jobs in our area. And they struggle and our area struggles to attract new industry, and because of the changing economy and the need for more skilled workers. This challenge has caused many systems to shut down their services, and some communities have seen their doctors and their hospitals close or even leave town. As a resident of a small rural community, I hope that you will look for ways to measure the availability of services in a community of our size. As a business owner, I worry about the rising cost of health care, both for the bottom line and also for any employees that I may have in the future. And I support just about everything that keeps the services in our area and reduce the rate of growth of health care costs. The system has suggested several ways they plan to save money and to reinvest these savings to support the expanded services across our region here in Hawkins County. And I appreciate this focus on cost, and I would like to see more of the ways, the measures of how these efforts will work in the future. Through this process, I was surprised to learn that there are a good number of people in our region who use the emergency rooms for dozens of times a year. And I can only imagine how much money is wasted by when someone visits the emergency room without even needing it. And I believe that we should track things like this number of times that these people use the emergency room once a program is developed to reduce the cost of these practices. And I want to thank you once again for what you're doing, and I wish you success as you help to improve the healthcare system in my area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hang on just a second. Any questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much. Next, we have Tim Latrel.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm Tim Latrel. I'm president of At-Work Personnel Services, one of the At-Work Personnel Services here in this region. We specialize in high-risk staffing in this region and across the Southeast. Formerly, I started and co-managed some years ago At-Work Medical Services. So I have some understanding up in this area of what's involved with the staffing of medical personnel. There are 4 main areas that I'd like to see on that index. We talk of medical care, mainly acute care, taking care of people with chronic illnesses. I would like to see some index here that involves forwarding wellness care in our communities, educating, encouraging, motivating our populace, our citizens, to take care of their health. With healthcare costs going nowhere but up, and unless you have a magic wand somewhere, there's not going to be anything that you're going to be able to do about that. It is of most interest to us to encourage our community, the members of our community, to take care of their health. That can help control cost in and of itself. Secondly, it's already been mentioned, access to medical care here, and I agree with that. We have locations through the Northeast Tennessee area, Southwest Virginia area that are remote, and it can be very difficult for these people that live way out in the places where I sometimes will jokingly say, if you stop your car and you get out, you can hear the Indian drums off in the distance. But access to medical care, and when we say access, I don't necessarily just mean having a provider or a facility that is close by. I also mean in terms of economic access as well. And we're looking at 2 large systems coming together. I believe we see here opportunity as well for them to be able to put their minds together on ways to be able to reduce the cost of medical care. And one of those things I know that we're already beginning to see is the urgent care. I was very glad to see the urgent care opened up here in Rogersville. I've been a beneficiary of that already, and it hasn't been opened up for just 2 or 3 months. What a great place to go rather than in the ER on a Sunday afternoon when you're not feeling well and you feel like you need to see a provider. So that's an example right there of access. Training opportunities for people wanting to get into health care or wanting to advance in health care. We have ETSU, we have the medical school up here, we have a wonderful base of opportunity in order to be able to grow training opportunities, grow professionals here. We do have a bit of a problem here where the young people graduate from high school. Perhaps they go to college here, maybe. But then they're looking at opportunities outside. And some of that has to do with money. We have the opportunity to attract those people to the opportunities here in healthcare, and also to even be so attractive to people outside. Hey, you know what? The Mountain Empire region of Tennessee and Southwest Virginia is a great place to come if you are wanting an industry, if you want this kind of opportunity. And those four, I would combine employment opportunities in that as well. Those four indexes, as part of the index.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee?
Can you give us just a brief on your top four again? Just to brief the topics for your top four.
And those four, I would combine employment opportunities in that as well. Those four indexes, as part of the index.
I think it's your number 4 that didn't come across as clearly for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, next we have Gary Metcalf.
Gary Metcalf. I have worked for both Wellmont and Mountain States Health Alliance as their spiritual and pastoral care support services. So my coming to this is a little bit different, a little different slope, so I'd like to kind of share that with you tonight. I am in favor of the merger, and for too long, healthcare has become a commodity for gain and not the gift that it was intended to be. So as these two entities pull together through reconciliation, they begin to live the true intent of the healing gift. In the beginning, as you know, healing was provided as a gift by individuals who had a love for people and a love for knowledge. I see the power of bringing these two entities together. These health systems should pull together to eliminate the waste and duplications brought about by competition and begin to balance what is needed and necessary to reach the people of this region. From the farthest corners of our region, from Trade, Tennessee, all the way to Sneedville, access is one of the most important things that we can do as we merge these two entities together. Both of these entities, both of these systems, building together a trusted fiduciary relationship will be a win for this region and our region. As the state of Tennessee seeks to oversee this enormous bond, I urge the new organization to be held to the standard that decisions are made in concert with representation of stakeholders. Boards continue at the smaller hospitals and rolling up and reporting to the larger board of a whole health system. The new organization should seek to integrate a mission that empowers creativity, research, efficiency, and growth. That mission becomes integrated into the fabric of that organization. The mission will have a love for people at its center. This mission will include service to the underserved and all the marginal areas of our region, which goes back to access. Now for the most dramatic transformation, and this involves a little going out of the box. That is to develop a strategic plan for establishment of mental health and spiritual health services. Surveying the present structure, but create and enact a radical shift in the philosophy of care. We have been so worried about the readmission rates, the CMS reimbursements, and the different elements that affect that reimbursement. And so if we keep doing the same things, do we not expect the same results? That's what I've always been told. So now's the time to invest in a structure that will impact the mental and spiritual, emotional aspect of life. Why would you do that? Well, because the mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being impacts our physical behavior. And we know that physical behavior is the cause of our patients coming into the hospitals. Probably as high as 85% of the time, it is because of the actions of the person coming in. So all we are doing is treating physical results with more physical stimuli and medications. Once we recognize that mental and spiritual treatments will impact and influence the health of our patients, and in return, it will also impact those scores and those reimbursements. So keeping tabs on how are we doing financially in our reimbursements. Fourth and final, take training modules. Develop an institutional infrastructure that trains team members, physicians, nursing educators in the discipline of coaching, of counseling, and motivating support. These training models, working with navigators that have already been established in both systems, the system will begin supporting and growing other businesses within the communities. Faith communities and churches already have supported faith-based free clinics. They're in all three of the Tri-Cities. They have RAM events, okay? Community organizations, civic organizations, United Way agencies, all of those can incorporate and be combined together. So you measure, how do we partner with those? Volunteer patients, this is kind of out of the reach, who have results and best outcomes, pair them up as coaches with others that are going through the same diagnosis. And then we have government entities as well, Area Agency on Aging and others that we can partner with, so looking at partnerships. Any questions?
Yes. How do you see expanding spiritual services?
Spiritual services through through professional chaplaincy, training. We have that training ground already here in this region through one of the health systems, and building upon that. Also training the team members, just as much as having a professional chaplain. So you have a professional chaplain who goes out and trains the team members to build that spiritual care with the patients as well as with the team. Not only recognizing that team members also have struggles that they have to go through as well.
Recognizing the diversity of the people in our region, and not all of them are Christians. So when you talk about this, are you talking about coaching and training in Christian spiritual growth and development, or spirituality just in general?
Most of it's spirituality in general, but also looking at motivation. Spiritual goes way beyond religion and looks at, why did I get up this morning? Or why did I, how did I treat somebody on the road coming over here? That's the spiritual aspect of life. So you're looking at the mental, spiritual, and emotional pieces of the person more than, but also recognizing that their religious group will also impact that, but you're looking more at the spiritual as more global.
Thank you.
Expound just a little bit more on what you mean by mental. Are you talking about mental health services?
Mental health services, how do we, exactly. We're looking at, psych services as well as counseling services, partnering with those community counseling centers that work on a sliding scale fee and building that up as well, but also recognizing how to impact the patient.
You mentioned earlier decisions made together with the stakeholders. Any ideas on the metrics we could use to take a look at that and see whether it's been accomplished?
Well, one of the things I would look at is, of course, the boards, the times that they meet and how they report up. Also, who's on the boards. As I shared with you, community members should be on that board. I think team members should also be a part of that board, along with physicians. And so you kind of measure up, you'll have to set up a database of who's on what board and how do they report, and making sure that there is a report going from, let's say, from Sneedville and Hancock County and Hawkins County going up to the larger board.
Yeah, thank you I'm sorry, I was taking notes. Thank you very much, Gary. All right. Thanks. Okay, next we have on the list Miles Burdine.
Thank you. I've got some prepared remarks, and then I'm going to tell a short story too. So, good evening. I'm Miles Burdine. I'm with the Kingsport Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts about the development of the health index to measure public advantage resulting from the Wellmont and Mountain States merger. Kingsport Chamber is comprised of nearly 1,000 members from our area who are focused on building a stronger Kingsport by supporting a healthy business community and supporting opportunities for workforce development. No doubt, healthcare and workforce readiness are two of the issues that companies look for when deciding to locate or expand their businesses here. I understand last week, Bob, or 2 weeks ago, Bob Fegans, one of my coworkers, spoke with you briefly, and he mentioned Healthy Kingsport. But I did want to touch a little bit more on how that came about. Several years ago, there was a headline in USA Today that named the 10 unhealthiest regions in America. 4 of those communities were from the state of Tennessee. One of them was my hometown, Kingsport, Tennessee. Not just the city, but the region. And we actually talked, Gary was there, we talked about challenging how those statistics came about to label us in such a horrible fashion, but we decided instead to accept that as a challenge and continue pushing forward with our initiative called Healthy Kingsport, which has already started. Healthy Kingsport has become so important to us, and by the way, I want to say thank you to Ms. Robertson for your support of Healthy Kingsport, and also to Mr. Belcher, who can tell his own story about a success recently with Healthy Kingsport on pre-diabetes training, so well aware of that. So thank you very much. But thank you for your support. Anyway, we decided to use that as a call to action. Healthy Kingsport now has 2 full-time employees, and they have an intern from ETSU, and they're housed within our organization. We give them free space, we give them accounting, we give them all kinds of support because we believe in what they are trying to do, and it's so very important to moving our community forward. Now back to my prepared remarks. I'm biased, but I believe our region is one of the best areas in the country to build a business and raise a family. Today, Wellmont and Mountain States provide our region with excellent care, and my family trusts them for care when we need it. The systems are all also huge economic engines for our area as they employ thousands of people in good jobs and support our local economy. Each one of these jobs is a force multiplier, creating additional jobs in our local shops, our local restaurants, with local businesses that support their operations and more. Additionally, local colleges and universities such as ETSU and Northeast State Community College are preparing the next generation of doctors, pharmacists, nurses, and other health professions that will care for our community in the future. These programs attract students from many different areas, and we hope that, I've had many there, but I scratched it out and put all of them stay and build their careers and start their families right here in our region. As you consider how to measure public advantage, I think the index should track the amount of money invested by the new system in research and in job training. I also suggest that we track the number of locally trained health care professionals who actually stay here. I've also been told that we've learned that the merger will provide significant cost savings via cooperation, coordination, and avoiding duplication. So I suggest measuring those cost savings to health care and to the businesses that provide health care to their employees. As a Chamber of Commerce, we are constantly looking at the impact of business decisions in our area, whether good or bad. If a business closes its doors or opens a new factory, it impacts every one of us. The merger of these two systems will have a significant and lasting impact on our economy and will provide new and exciting opportunities for business growth and workforce development. This is why so many of our members have publicly expressed their support for it. I respect and I appreciate the transparency of this whole process. We have offered many opportunities for Wellmont and Mountain States to jointly provide updates. They've come to our board members and board meetings. In fact, we have a slot on our board agenda every month for both of them to provide an update. We've given them opportunities, invitations to our membership breakfast, our after hours, and all of the invitations have been accepted, and all have provided for important update that's been very helpful to our community. As you continue your work to develop the index, I'd like to offer the support and expertise of the Kingsport Chamber to your efforts if you so need them. In closing, best and most significant regionalism since the Tri-Cities Airport, in my opinion, is the opportunity that we have before us, and that's combining these two systems. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening and for your willingness to lead this very, very important issue.
Thank you, Miles. Just a second to make sure. Any questions from the committee? I have one, if I may, Miles. Your colleague, Ms. Barker, she spoke of access to data on quality and information And she clarified she was really speaking both of some internal metrics that the hospital may use, but also the index. And I feel reasonably sure the index will be a public information, but any reaction to that? Have you given that part any thought?
I think I mentioned transparency, and this whole process has been unbelievably transparent. In fact, it's really a model that others should use. And so I guess to answer my question, any information that can be given, including what Nancy identified, would be helpful.
Okay, great, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you thought one of the measures we should track would be the number of professionals that we grow and keep in the region. Do you think it would be worthwhile to also measure the number of professionals and specialists we attract from outside coming in because they hear about what a good
I should have written that down. That's very good. So we've actually got an initiative called Move to Kingsport where we're helping to get people to live here. Each person who moves here is worth about $25,000 minimum in expenditures in our local community, wherever they live. Family of four, do the math, worth $100,000. So.
Anything? All right, thank you, Miles.
Thank you.
Jeff, is that concluded?
That's it, no more.
All right, good. Well, I want to make sure and repeat, this is not the only opportunity for public input. We do have on the schedule, I should say, 2 more meetings. And also you can submit your comments in writing tonight and drop it in the box. And also you're more than welcome to go to Tennessee Department of Health website and under COPA and submit your comments there. And we welcome those, and we encourage you to please respond that way if these public venues aren't where you wish to share your comments. The transcription for tonight will be available on the internet, also on the same website at Tennessee Department of Health under COPA, and also in the YouTube links for the meetings will be included on the website as well. You can also reach out to anyone on the advisory committee by email, and our addresses and our names are on there. And so feel free to engage those as you wish. And Jeff so appropriately reminded us that all that is subject to public record. So, anything else, Jeff?
I think that's it.
All right. Thank Holston Cooperative for hosting us. Again, this is a wonderful facility. Very, very nice. Thank you for coming tonight. Your thoughts and your comments have been well received by the committee. You did a great job and put a lot of work into it, so we're very, very thankful. So the process moves on, and so good luck and safe travel back home. We're adjourned.